The question is, when there's so much that's needed in this world, why would you just concentrate on taking care of yourself? I mean, how does it work? Is the quest for self-realization just putting myself first when everybody else has so many needs? Yes, it has to be clarified, so let me clarify it as best I can. First of all, and you remind me of something that I'd wanted to say that I didn't, so let me say it now. The most powerful force in the world is consciousness. We think the most powerful force in the world is CNN or the New York Times or nuclear weapons or Putin in Russia or whatever. We think that's what power is, but it's not. And of course, I'm just saying that to you, but everything is really about consciousness. And when you are being an instrument of divine light, you are making a powerful change in the world. We just don't see it because we're not used to seeing it. But it's a simple fact, because everything changes from consciousness. All those other things, they just go in circles, and then they blow stuff up, and yes, people die, and they go on and they reincarnate again. But when consciousness changes, that's a permanent change. That's completely independent. This is an ephemeral world. Nothing lasts. We think this is such an exciting and difficult and confusing period in history, but I often imagine how it's going to be written up 50 years from now. And I read about the Civil War, I read about the Second World War, and it grips you, but you're looking at it objectively. We just think this one is so big and important because we're here. But it's really just because it's ephemeral. It's who's in charge now, and in 50 years they won't be in charge anymore. And most of us will not even be here. When this, a few years ago in California, there was a spiritual group, got an initiative onto the California ballot. It had something to do with nuclear weapons. It might have been trying to make California a nuclear-free zone. The details escape me. And they came to Ananda, and they really wanted Swami to endorse it, and they wanted us to put energy behind it. And they were very intelligent, thoughtful people, and they gave this presentation. And the presentation was about if a nuclear bomb of a certain mega something, or whatever they call it, lands on, I think Chicago was their sample. Here it is. How many people will be vaporized in the first 30 seconds? How many will be turned to ash? How many will die slowly? And just ever-exceeding circles of all the hundreds of thousands of people who would be killed. It was pretty horrific. It was extremely well done, but it was pretty horrible, but it was true. It was just, they were trying to do that. Swami listened respectfully to the whole thing. Afterwards, he said, it was very well done. With your objective, you did a very good job. I have to commend you on it. He said, but 100 years from now, almost nobody who's on the planet now is still going to be here. So if we all go out in one big burst or dribble out over 100 years, he said, once you're in the astral world, it won't make a whit of difference. And then he said, if peace is your objective, fear is not the right tactic. And you see, that was it. That's the whole thing. So if peace is your objective, to be worried all the time about what's going to happen to everyone, what am I putting out into the universe? I'm putting out lack of faith in God, worry, concern, anxiety about suffering and death. How is that going to help? Right? So anything that helps your vibration be genuinely uplifting, because we do not have the power to keep people from dying. And we do not have the power to keep them from facing their karma. But what we do have the power is not to be afraid because of that. If you are not afraid, and then fill in the blank of, then you are always helping. Even in the smallest things. Some mother struggling with a small child in the supermarket. Sometimes when I see the baby having a tantrum, I'll try to project thoughts to the baby. Come on, your poor mama, look at her. She's so worn out. For heaven's sakes, give her a break. You'd be surprised it works. Not always. But if you're not afraid and you look around and you think, how can I help? Now, how can you do that if you're not working on your consciousness? Now, if you're working on your consciousness, so all be powerful and all be safe and all be strong, you're not working on your consciousness. You're working on your ego. True self-realization is the dissolution of the boundaries, the opening up, as we were talking about, just opening up. How can I serve? That's what working on your consciousness looks like, whether you meditate or don't meditate or have a guru or don't. You can make a mess of having a guru and meditating as easily as you can make a mess of something else. It's really, am I compassionate, kind, willing, and trusting and not afraid about it? So there is absolutely no contradiction. The contradiction is a false contradiction. However, if you start working on your consciousness, you might stop doing the things that other people want you to do. And they may accuse you, but they don't necessarily know, just as we were talking about your family, that they do lots of things that you're not interested in anymore. So they may call you selfish. That doesn't mean you're being selfish. That just means that you're not like them anymore. So you have to discern and know for yourself what's really happening. That's where the courage comes from, right? Like that.